We all need a place where our hearts can breathe at. This is where broken hearts heal, courage is born, and silence finds a voice. Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone. I remember standing in my kitchen one Tuesday morning, barefoot, hair still wet, holding a chipped mug of lukewarm coffee, when I realized I hadn't followed through on a single promise I made to myself that week. The planner was still empty. The workout gear was still folded. The journal sat unopened. And there I was feeling that all too. Familiar shame whispering, "You'll never stick with anything, will you?" But here's the truth, it wasn't laziness. It wasn't lack of desire. It was fear. Fear of failing again. Fear of starting only to stop again. And maybe fear that I wasn't worth the effort of consistency. So today, let's talk about what it means to push yourself to be consistent. Not in a punishing, perfectionistic way, but in a deeply compassionate human way. I want you to think about the way you show up for the people you love. When your best friend is hurting, you answer the phone, even if it's midnight. When your child needs something, you're there, no matter how tired you are. When your parent calls, you make time, even if you're overwhelmed. Because that's what we do for the people we care about. We show up. We show up not perfectly, not with all the right answers, but with presence, with intention, with love. Now imagine what it would look like if you showed up for yourself with the same devotion. That's what consistency really is. It's not punishment. It's not self-criticism disguised as ambition. It's not about pushing yourself past your limits to prove something. True consistency is a deeply tender act of self-respect. It's saying to yourself, "You matter enough for me to keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when no one claps or notices." Especially then, it's you standing in your own corner. Day after day, we live in a culture that glorifies grand, flashy achievements, viral moments, massive transformations, dramatic makeovers. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you could ever do for yourself isn't grand at all? It's quiet. It's boring even. It's the choice to show up again and again and again. Not because you're trying to become someone better, but because you're finally choosing to honor who you already are. When you brush your teeth at night, you're telling your future self, "I care about you." When you go on that walk, even when it's the last thing you feel like doing, you're whispering, "You deserve to feel good in your body." When you open that journal and write even a single line, you're saying, "Your voice matters. Your thoughts are important. I'm listening." And the wildest part, no one else even sees those moments. But you do. You see the patterns you're building, the trust you're slowly restoring. Because that's what consistency truly is. It's rebuilding the bridge back to yourself, brick by brick, habit by habit, promise by promise. And here's what people don't always talk about: self-trust isn't built by making massive changes overnight. It's built in tiny, almost invisible decisions. The ones that seem too small to matter, but they do matter. Because every time you show up for yourself, you're teaching your nervous system something sacred. I am safe. I am reliable. I am worth the effort. And when that starts to take root, everything changes, not just on the outside, but deep within you. You walk differently. You breathe differently. You stop chasing validation and start embodying quiet confidence. We are so conditioned to believe that change is this explosive, life-altering event, that there will be this one magical morning when we wake up transformed, energized, and utterly ready to conquer the world. But real transformation doesn't come like a lightning bolt. It comes like slow rain, soft, persistent, quiet. It's built in the tiny, invisible moments that no one claps for. It's that exact moment when you don't feel like doing the thing, but you do it anyway. Not with excitement, not with motivation, but with quiet commitment. That's the moment that changes you. When we talk about consistency, it's easy to romanticize the idea of showing up. But the truth is, consistency is often boring. It's not glamorous or poetic. Sometimes it's repetitive. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it feels like you're working so hard and moving nowhere. And yet, those are the moments that are building your future in the background. We want fireworks, but the soul grows through candlelight. Slow, steady, deliberate. Think about how water carves stone, not with force, not with speed, but with patience, with repetition. That's what your small daily actions are doing. Even if you can't see the shift yet, the shift is happening. You are becoming someone new, one small decision at a time. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You don't dig them up the next day to see if they're growing. You trust the process. You water them. You keep showing up. And eventually, maybe not today, maybe not next week, you look out and realize something beautiful has begun to sprout. Consistency gives you that moment where you realize you're not who you used to be. Not because you had one big, life-changing event, but because you made hundreds of small, intentional choices in silence. And that silence, that stillness, that's where the real you is shaped. So the next time you do something small, a 10-minute walk, one paragraph in your book saying no when it would have been easier to say yes, don't belittle it. That's a brick. That's a thread in the larger tapestry of your life. That's a muscle being strengthened, not just in your body, but in your soul. And over time, those tiny, seemingly insignificant actions begin to shape your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who doesn't abandon themselves at the first sign of difficulty, someone who honors their future by how they treat their present. So if you're sitting there feeling like you're not making any progress, pause. Look at your quiet effort. Look at how you've kept going. Look at the choices you've made that no one even saw. There's a moment we all face in the journey toward consistency that no one really prepares us for. The moment when we slip. When we miss a day, a week, maybe even a month. When the journal gets dusty, the gym shoes stay in the closet, the dream is buried under dishes and bills and exhaustion. That moment comes with a sting, a silent shame that sounds a lot like, you did it again. You always fall off. And in that moment, we are faced with a quiet choice. One that feels impossibly heavy. Do I start over? Or do I believe the story that I'll never get it right? Let me tell you this as tenderly and truthfully as I can. You are allowed to start over. Not just once. Not just a few times. As many times as you need. Because consistency isn't about never breaking the chain. It's about having the self-compassion to pick the chain back up. It's about refusing to let a detour become a dead end. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times, not because they're failures, but because falling is part of the learning process. And yet, we as adults expect ourselves to be flawless from the start. We expect perfection. And when we stumble, we don't just feel disappointment, we question our entire identity. But what if starting over wasn't a sign of weakness? What if it was the very evidence of your strength? Each time you come back to your intention, after forgetting, after breaking down, after quitting, you are building something far more valuable than a perfect track record. You're building resilience. You're building grit. You're building a relationship with yourself that says, no matter how many times I fall, I won't abandon myself. There's something sacred about the restart, something beautiful in the return. It's a quiet rebellion against every voice, external or internal, that tells you, why bother? It's you choosing to believe that your growth is not linear. It's cyclical. It's layered. It's real. And let me be clear, shame has no place in your reset. We think that if we're hard on ourselves, we'll do better next time. But that's not how the human heart works. We don't bloom under punishment. We grow under kindness. Grace is not a reward for the consistent. It is the foundation that makes consistency possible. So if you're coming back after time away, after giving up, after numbing out, after forgetting what you even wanted in the first place, take a breath. This is your invitation. The door is still open. You haven't ruined anything. You're not behind. You're right on time. Start small. Start soft. But start. Again and again and again. Because the measure of your consistency is not how long you can go without messing up. It's how many times you can choose to begin again. Without shame, without judgment, with open hands and a brave heart. That's how you become someone you trust. Not by never falling, but by proving to yourself that every fall is just a pause, never a full stop. There's a reason motivation feels so good. It's loud. It's exhilarating. It's like the first warm day after winter. You suddenly feel alive again, full of energy and purpose and hope. On days like that, you want to change your life, you write lists, you set goals, you make promises, and for a little while, it feels like you might actually do it.
But motivation is a fickle friend. It doesn't always show up when you need it. Some days it's there cheering you on. Other days it's nowhere to be found, like it forgot about you entirely. That's the thing about feelings, they fluctuate. They rise and fall like the tide. They can't be depended on to carry the weight of your long-term goals. So what do you build your consistency on when motivation fails you? Meaning. Motivation is a spark. Meaning is the fuel. When the thrill wears off, when the grind sets in, when the work gets unglamorous, that's when meaning steps in and carries you forward. That's when your why becomes more important than your how. We don't talk about this enough. Your reason for doing something will always matter more than how perfectly you do it. If your goal is just about pressure, appearance, or chasing someone else's version of success, you will burn out. Every time. But if your goal is connected to something true, something rooted in your values, your identity, your vision of who you want to be, then you'll find the strength to keep going even when it's hard. So ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Who am I doing this for? What does this say about who I'm becoming? If you're trying to move your body more, don't just make it about losing weight. Make it about feeling alive, having energy, being around for the people you love. If you're waking up early to build something, don't just do it to outwork others. Do it because you believe in what you're creating, because your voice deserves to be heard. If you're choosing to set boundaries, don't do it to be trendy. Do it because you finally realized your peace matters more than pleasing everyone. Let your consistency come from love, from purpose, from a vision of yourself that you are proud to meet in the mirror. And here's the powerful part. When you root your actions in meaning, you actually create motivation. It doesn't come from outside you. It flows through you because you know what you're doing and why it matters. You begin to shift from I have to do this to I get to do this. From discipline to devotion. From pressure to presence. Meaning doesn't just keep you going. It makes the journey worth going through. It softens the struggle. It gives purpose to the repetition. It transforms mundane effort into sacred practice. So the next time you feel unmotivated, uninspired, or just plain tired, don't shame yourself. Don't quit. Just come back to your why. Speak it aloud. Let it steady your heart. There is something incredibly powerful, almost sacred, about becoming someone you can count on. Not just to meet deadlines or keep appointments. Not just to show up for others, but someone who shows up for yourself. Someone who keeps the promises no one else hears you make. Because at the end of the day, you spend every moment of your life with you. And that relationship, it's the most important one you'll ever have. We often talk about consistency in terms of results, how it helps us get in shape, build businesses, create routines, reach goals. But there's a deeper reward that's rarely mentioned, the healing of your self-trust. The restoration of that quiet voice inside that says, I trust you. I believe you. I know you won't leave me hanging anymore. That trust, it doesn't come from making one big change. It comes from the 1,000 small decisions you make every day. To get out of bed even when you don't feel like it. To write that one sentence when your brain says you're too tired. To breathe instead of scroll. To rest instead of quit. And here's the truth that might make your chest ache. For so many of us, the hardest part of consistency isn't the effort. It's the fear of disappointing ourselves again. It's the ache of past promises we didn't keep. The plans we abandoned, the times we said, this time will be different. And it wasn't. But here's what I want you to hear with your whole heart. You can rewrite that story. You can become someone your past self can forgive and your future self can depend on. Not by being perfect. Not by grinding yourself into exhaustion, but by being honest. By being willing to start small and stay close. By whispering to yourself every day, I've got you. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to catch up to anyone. You don't need to earn your worth. You are already worthy. You are already enough. And when you move through life with that belief at your core, consistency becomes an act of love, not labor. Imagine what it would feel like to finally trust yourself. To know that when you say you're going to do something, big or small, you mean it. That your own heart believes you. That your inner child isn't bracing for another broken promise. That's the gift of consistency, not the outcomes, but the integrity, the alignment, the quiet power of knowing that the life you are building reflects the truth of who you are. And maybe that's what healing really is, not fixing everything, but becoming someone you no longer feel the need to escape from. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for motivation to show up and carry you across the finish line. Choose today. Choose now. Choose you. Lay the brick, take the breath. Honor the promise. So here's what I want you to remember. Love. Push yourself to be consistent, but not from shame, from truth, from love. Start small, stay honest, stay human. Your consistency is not about forcing yourself into a box. It's about creating a rhythm that your soul can dance to. You don't have to do it all today. You just have to do one small thing and mean it, because you are worth showing up for every single day. So go ahead, lay your brick, take the walk, write the line, drink the water. Be the person who says, I may not be perfect, but I am present.